This is a 2-acre piece of property that I had forestry mulched. I'm going to make a long-term video series because I won't be building on this piece of property for a couple years. And there's not a lot of information concerning how long it takes for forestry mulching to decompose, or how long it takes for grass to start to grow or underbrush to start to come up, which will be the first thing. There's a lot of videos showing people forestry mulching with their machines, but there's not a lot out there about how long it takes for the property to come back to a state which most people would like to see it in, which is grass, or even if it's just greenery coming up. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to tell you that they tell you when they more forestry mulch, you end up with a really pretty piece of property. Well, you end up with a lot more than that. There's a lot of pieces. You'll see this one right here. That's about a 6-foot long piece of branch. Some over there, some right here, some right there. And even the mulch, I mean, it's mulch technically, but it's not the mulch you think of when you go to the grocery store and you get mulch, or you go to the Home Depot. I mean, this is very rough cut, large chunks. And there's also stumps that'll be out of the ground. There's a big root right there sticking up. Lots of stumps. There's one right there. It's about 1.5 inch stump. But they're real ragged, so they would rot a lot faster than a stump that's cut off even or smoothly with a saw. There's a larger stump. Here's some stumps over here. There's a stump there. There's a larger stump there. So this is what you end up with. This is a 2-acre piece of property. It only took 2 days to clear it. So it was a quick process. So what I'm going to be doing, some people would just leave it just like it is. And probably right now it is just the beginning of August. Probably by next spring you'll start to see green up in this area. Matter of fact, I think I already see some coming up back here. Here's some right here coming up. It happens quick. It's only been, I don't even think it's been a month. And you see there, you've already got stuff coming up. There's some more coming up over here. Now this is all undesirable stuff. That's the first stuff that's gonna come back, is your undesirable stuff. Your sticker bushes, underbrush, your trees that you don't want. So this is what you end up with. A lot of uneven ground out here, which isn't the fault of the forestry mulching per se. So my plan is, step one is going to be to disc. I'm going to be using a very heavy disc. It's about 800 pounds. And I'm going to set it to 0 degrees so I don't break blades on all these stumps. And I'm just going to start going over this and chopping it up. I'm going to chop all this. This stuff is getting pretty dried and brittle, so it's going to break up. I'm just going to start going over it. And I'm probably going to do that for, I don't know. I would guess how many passes. If I had to guess, I'll come out here and do 4 or 5 passes in a day at least. And then I will probably do that 3 or 4 times. So probably upwards of 20 passes total, to try and get this stuff chopped up and incorporated into the ground as much as possible. The next step, depending on what it looks like after I get that done, I'm going to pick up the big pieces that are left. I might even use a landscape rake and start raking up some stuff. And the next step is to use a bottom disc plow. And a lot of people don't. That's kind of an old school plow. They don't really use them anymore. You could also use a mold board or a bottom plow, or 2-bottom plow. I would only recommend a 2-bottom plow if you have scrapers to keep it cleaned off, because it's gonna get clogged up and stuff like this. A disc plow is probably better suited for this, because it is built to go over large stumps and actually uproot and turn over smaller stumps. So They're hard to find. Some people call them a pan plow. Some people call them a disc plow. A new ground plow. There's a large stump. You're not going to get that one up. That's going to take a stump grinder. So there's a lot of names for it. I'll show it to you. It's on the tractor I'm using is a Ford 3600, which is a 46 horse tractor. It's about as small as you'd want to use for something. I guess if you had a four-wheel drive, you might could get away with a 32 35 horsepower tractor. But it's a lot to do for a small tractor. That's the tractor I'll be using. It's got the disc plow on it. I'm about to go set it down because that won't come until after I disc for a while. Here's the disc plow. It's a homemade job. I'm gonna have to add a lot of weight to it to get it down into the ground, but I'll take care of that. And then after that, after the disc plow, is gonna leave it pretty rough. And after that, I'll let it dry for several weeks, and then I'll come back and disc more. And then finally, I will probably come back with a box blade and try and level off as much as possible. That's the plan. I plan on by next spring to have this in decent shape to start letting green come up. And after that, it's time to start bush hogging. I'll spread grass seed. Grass isn't going to take over for a while. Maybe by the end of summer, I'll start having some decent grass out here this time next year. Until then, it's going to be a lot of undesirable stuff coming up that's going to have to be brush hogged. So this is what you have. I know people who do the forestry mulching like to tell you it's going to look like a park when they're done. Well, it doesn't. It doesn't look like a park. It looks like kind of a mess. But it is a viable option. It's very quick. It's inexpensive. You don't lose your topsoil like you would with a dozer. So it's definitely a good option if you have the equipment or the time. If you have several years to just wait, they'll say this decomposes in about a year. Well, that's not going to decompose in a year. These pieces are too big for that. It'd take several years for this to decompose, running bush hog over it regularly to really break this stuff up really good. That's my opinion. So this is what you got. I'm going to be documenting this as I go. It's going to be long term, and maybe by the end of it, people out there who are considering this as an option of clearing will have a really good idea of what they're in for. So that's all for now. Until the next video.